as we close it. Maybe we'll open it back up at the end once we get there. But thank you again for being here. Again, for all of you who said that you are brand new and you just kind of gotten here with an invite recently, maybe you haven't been following Opening Playbook for months or years, like many of the people in this room who know me and Graham quite well. What we're talking about today is something that Graham has nicknamed the Lotto board, and actually now has become the official name because it just kind of stuck over time. And we call this a red carpet reveal. The red carpet idea is basically we're doing this kind of impromptu ahead of schedule. And so even if you don't know all the details behind this and you find yourself in this room, one way or the other, you found yourself into kind of a special spot here today that we're doing a kind of an early reveal of this specifically for, our Opening Playbook folks and the people who follow us closely, but we welcome all of you and we're so excited. And so what you're going to learn about today is not really a predictive model or some complicated analysis. It's really about the pricing of these options that Graham has been trading that have had the power to pay 2, 3, several, 5 times your money trades, even on a regular move in the stock. And the average winner from Graham's real money trading is north of 200% right now. And so today you're going to see how all of that works. Plus, like Graham said, an opportunity to do it in live market. So again, the trades expressed are based on signals from the Lotto board, real time, real money. While today's guest has been using this tool with great success, 71.9% win rate on home run trades, just insane. 143% is the average return, folks. That's the winners and losers combined over 10 days, with the average winner of 224% and the highest profit factor I have ever seen in my career right now at 10.45 on those real money trades over the last few months. But of course, bound to be winners and losers. This is a tool for traders. It's not a trading service. So of course, your performance is going to vary on how you use the tool. Trade at your own risk. Again, let's just double and triple down here so everyone's on the same page. We have seen this tool produce really big wins, and that's by design. It's looking for those huge 500, even 1,000+% potential Lotto-like setups. That's why we nicknamed it that and has become the real name. And so, of course, there have been some of those big Grand Slam results in the past, but keep in mind, not every trade's going to end up being that big. Plenty of trades are smaller, 50 to 300%. Average win 224. And then, of course, there's some losers as well. That should be expected. And we're just going to walk you through all those stats today in the class so there's no confusion about the typicality seen so far from those real money trades by the myth, the legend himself, Graham Lindman. And so, again, just like I said, triple down. I want to be very clear here because we're going to show you some amazing stuff. And I just want to be clear, no black box, no miracle, no magic money printer. We are trying to give you an edge. This might be the biggest edge we've seen so far, but it doesn't mean it's guaranteed. It doesn't mean it's automatic. If you can't handle losing trade, obviously you should not trade with real money. So again, losses in trading have occurred and will occur. Hopefully we've done our due diligence to be very, very clear on that front. So welcome, guys. I'm Nate Tucci. If you don't know me, I'm the publisher here. And the question for today is, what if you could throw out all your charts, click erase on all those colorful drawings that you map out all over the price action, never worry about trend, financial statements, or technical analysis ever again, literally ever again? What if you could ignore all of that and still have the opportunity to turn dirt cheap option contracts into what could be massive paydays? Like this 194% on APA. The options here cost just 17 cents to enter, or 208% there on Chevron, starting with just a 12-cent option per contract. And then this one, 415% on RF, stock I've never even traded before, with a 13-cent contract to get in. Now, that might sound crazy, maybe even too good to be true, but according to our special guest today, who's the head options trader of a major financial research firm, those returns aren't even that special based on the track record so far, and they're definitely not out of the ordinary. In fact, he sees dozens of those opportunities line up every single day. It's all thanks to the custom-coded dashboard that helps detect which option contracts should be primed specifically to make that 2, 3, even 5x plus move all in a matter of days. And we call this the Lotto board. Now, the way it works is actually really simple. All we do is we wait for the option details to pop up in that Lotto board feed. And if we like what we see, we can click a few buttons on our brokerage to follow along and build that trade, knowing that we have a shot to target 2 times, 3 times, even 5x just a couple days later. For example, here's one that happened on Moderna. That's mRNA. This was February 17th, just recently, 12:24 p.m. mRNA lit up on the Lotto board. You can see it right there in that little box, meaning these exact options that it found have the power to pay 2, 3, 5 times in a matter of days. Now, anyone who took that trade exactly like Graham did, with his own money on February 17th, would have come back to 200% net ROI in less than 24 hours on Moderna, which would have been no different than watching $500 turn into $1,500 before you finished up work the very next day, or $1,000 into $3,000 before dinner rolled around the next day. Pretty crazy. Now, while most people try to make the trading as complex as possible, my guest just waits for a trade to pop up on the Lotto board, just like this, and then buys the exact option contract to tag along for what could be the next double or triple digit winner. And when things work out, usually it pays out in about 10 days on average. Here's an example from January 26th. This one was on Bank of America, BAC, 184% return in just 8 days. The next day, the very next day, January 27th, this one pinged on Kinder Morgan, KMI. This one was at 220% over 14 days. And then again, the next day, and literally the next day, January 28th was Wednesday. This one was on Lululemon. And you can see there, it was 169% within 6 days. Or here we go, January 29th. These are all real money trades that are happening in consecutive order. This one was on CVS. See that little 9-cent entry? Love that. 300% return in just 8 days. And then to finish up the week on January 30th, we got yet another one. This one is on Ultra Group MO, not exactly a stock known for home runs. Sure enough, 425% in just 5 days on the tobacco company MO. And keep in mind, these trades were not from a back test. They were not theoretical, could have, would have, or looked at the options chain and found some peak entry exit. None of that. Each and every example shared today is from real trades that my special guest took in real time with his own money on the line, many of which he also shared in his public Telegram channel and daily morning trade room with over 5,000 people just like you. And I know several of you are in here, like Larry, who said MO was his best one. He actually outdid Graham, made 646% in 11 days. Or Jason B., one of our favorite students, 270%. Thank you to the Lotto board. We have Dale V, who booked 312% here. This one was on that's another energy company, making 300% on a boring energy company from 16 cents to 66 cents there for Dale. This one was on Jeff, GE, 45%, MO, 117, and then Wells Fargo up 40%. Or Mary, who simply said, I'm finally in a positive run in my account. Don't change a thing. Good advice from Mary there. And a whole bunch more, 70% from Des, a 314% winner from Brooke, 137%, and a few others from Mike, MRK, 300%. And so we want to get the Lotto board into your hands as soon as we possibly can, so that by the time this class is over, literally in an hour, you'll be able to start using it right away to access the top opportunities already selected, already on that Lotto board for today, targeting the next 2, 3, even 5 times payout with a few clicks of the mouse. Now, the man behind it all is none other than trading superstar. You probably already know Graham Lindman. He's the head options trader here at Prosperity Pub, and he's one of the smartest and most diligent traders that I've ever worked with. Obviously, you guys know the work he puts in just for opening playbook, for example, and everything else. And he's the only trader in our firm's history that's trained under a former hedge fund manager, a trading champion, and the former vice president of a multi-billion-dollar trading firm. Now, Graham has a unique knack. Kind of his specialty are these mathematical driven odds to find new ways to beat the market. And by leveraging those odds, he's had incredible success. Not only was he able to publicly grow a trading account from 25K to 75K in just 90 days. That was crazy for those of you who followed him doing that. But then he did it again, more than doubling his account to 200,000 plus over the course of the last year. But according to Graham, things are about to get even hotter, because with the Lotto board up and running and polished off by some of the brightest minds in our industry, we're now able to target 2, 3, 5 times payouts right from any phone, tablet, or computer using the Lotto board without needing to do any of the heavy lifting on our end. So, Graham, we're very pumped to have you on today. I know people have been waiting literally on the edge of our seats. So take us through everything.
Well, hey, everyone. It is so good to be here. Just post Lotto in the chat if you are excited about this today. Now, I can't wait to get the all new Lotto board in your hands today, because it's not only changed the way that I approach the markets each day, but it's also helped me lock in some of the biggest winners I've ever seen in my life. And you can just see a handful of the screenshots there from my Thinkorswim account. Now, before we get going, I do want to be very clear with you guys. I want to set the stage. Today, you're going to see some extremely large returns, some that were so big they even shocked me when I saw them in my account. Now, as you'll see with the Lotto board, that's by design. However, please, 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 guys, understand with any method, there's bound to be winners and losers too. And the Lotto board is no exception. So I'm not going to hide those from you or pretend like they never happened. Instead, today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you everything. I'm going to show you the good and the bad. That way you can see for yourself firsthand how lucrative this opportunity can be in all sorts of situations. Now, it's all thanks to a pricing anomaly that's driving some of the biggest and most repetitive moves in the options market. A pricing anomaly that's so powerful and so consistent that researchers at elite institutions like NYU, Duke, Cornell, Yale, the Chicago Board of Options Exchange, even the Federal Reserve have funded study after study after study, all trying to crack the code on how this is even possible. But I'd bet that 99.9% of traders will never know this anomaly even exists. Now, that's because it's buried deep in the options market and practically impossible to detect with the naked eye. However, thanks to many late nights and early mornings, I love my early mornings, programming and testing out the code, plus paying out north of $250,000 annually. I think we're above that number now for options data feeds and programmers. We've been able to build a tool that can help us flag down this pricing anomaly in real time, telling us exactly which contracts could be primed to move 2x, 3x, 5x, or sometimes even more in a matter of days. For example, take a look at the Lotto board trade I took on Cisco back in January. Now, at the time, everybody was expecting this stock to be one of the AI darlings and print money hand over fist. But after weakening forecasts from analysts, the stock cratered nearly 10%, leaving Cisco stuck in a downwards trading range with no signs of life on the horizon. However, on January 14th, that didn't really matter too much to me because that day, the Lotto board flagged this pricing anomaly in the options on Cisco. Now, as you'll soon see, that meant that these options had the power to pay out 2x, 3x, even 5x plus, all in a matter of days. So I went ahead and took the trade without any delay. I did it in my retirement account, jumping in with the options pre-selected for me by the Lotto board, which were only going for 10 cents a pop. And sure enough, a few days later, while the stock moved a few ticks higher, I was landing a 220% payout on the Lotto. Now, it was actually the same story with Philip Morris, which actually hit on the Lotto board the same exact day that the Cisco opportunity did. Now, at the time, Philip Morris was stuck and getting punched in the face. Shares had plummeted over the last few months. That's not a pretty chart. The company was missing earnings estimates. Big investors were dumping their shares. And if you were evaluating the price action or reading the news on this stock, there was probably no chance anyone in their right mind would have come even close to this ticker. But on January 14th, none of that really mattered all that much to me because at 12:30 p.m. that day, the Lotto board flagged this pricing anomaly in the options market on PM, meaning those exact contracts could pay upwards of 2x, 3x, 5x plus in a matter of days. So I simply copied and pasted the options over to my brokerage, getting in for 60 cents a contract. And sure enough, even as this stock chopped around the next few days, only moving a few bucks higher, this one worked out too for a 233% payout on the Lotto.
Yeah, so let me just stop you after those two examples because we're off to a hot start with just two live money trades there. A tiny 250 bucks in each of those lottos, because they're so cheap, could have turned into $1,633 on those two trades, or 500 bucks. We're looking at $3,267 on just those two trades, which is a pretty massive result with that small starting stake on the line. Now, I'm not going to bore anyone with the painful stats on the ever rising cost of living. I feel like we do this nonstop, but we all know life has gotten insanely expensive. For most people, it's over $1,000 per month in added expenses over the last few years, which has really put a dent in the savings and retirement accounts for so many people. We've seen report after report about savings and retirements at all-time lows. But just between two trades alone, which are both relatively cheap to get into, that your Lotto board flagged on the same day, anyone who could have seen their account grow north of 3,000 bucks. Again, that's with a small starting stake. You didn't have to risk a fortune to get into that trade. And it's not like we're talking about hypothetical examples here either. So we'll keep reminding you every example that we're looking at are very real trades that you personally took with real money. Many of which you also share with regular people, just like you and me, in real time. Top students like Rizwan, who made 251%, or Mavis, who had a 260% winner there. Or we had Doug, who's up 176%, or David B, who said fast and easy. He actually had 10 winners and 2 losers, and most closed around 100% gain, which is pretty crazy. Or Chris, who said low risk with high reward, easy to manage, very small account friendly, making the scalability easy. CMI 301%, Clack 32, Netflix 150, GE 171, and mRNA 312% for Chris.
Yeah, Chris did better than me on Moderna there. Now,
Yep.
Nate, I love hearing those stories, and I love giving people a real shot at making some extra cash, even when the markets are less than favorable, even when they are just sluggish chopping or even bearish too. And starting today, I'm hoping to hear a lot more stories from people like Chris, Davis, Mavis, making it even easier for you by giving you access to the fully automated Lotto board, where I'm currently averaging over a 200% plus payout on the winners so far from my live real money trades. Now, again, just to hit the nail on the head again, I'm going to do this a few times. I want to remind you guys that with any strategy, there's bound to be winners and losers. And just to be extra clear, what I'm showing you today is not some sort of money printer you can run in your basement. That does not exist. With the Lotto board, we're shooting for really big winners here. So naturally, that implies we're not going to win all of the trades like an ultra safe income approach might attempt to. But, and here's the kicker, since the winners are so much bigger than the losers, I mean, so much bigger, and I've won far more often than not, I believe this Lotto board will help give folks the strongest edge I have ever seen in the markets. Now, listen, if you've been trading options for some time but can't seem to gain any ground, feel like you're constantly taking one step forward just to take one step back, well, don't beat yourself up. You see, most people think the options market is a level playing field, and if you guess the right move, you win. But the fact of the matter is that's not always the case. You see, when market makers on Wall Street list options and then sell them to us, they want those options to expire worthless, where your option value goes to zero. And that's because when you lose, they win. They make the most amount of money possible. So they'll jack up the options prices with expensive premiums priced in to tilt the odds in their favor and away from you. And that's why you can be totally right about the direction of a stock, but still lose money on the options, all because of these overly expensive options working against you. And I'm speaking from personal experience here. That's a trade I took a few years ago, and I said this is just not good. Now, the market makers are really, really good at doing this. As a matter of fact, one study by the CME reported that up to 70% of option buyers actually lose, even when the stock does move in your favor. But as I'll show you today, there are a handful of opportunities out there each week where the odds are actually flipped, where the options are trading for much cheaper than they really should be, and that makes our payout potential much, much bigger than normal. And instead of losing 70% of the time, like the CME reported, with the opportunities that I picked up from the Lotto board, I found myself on the winning side about 70% of the time, completely flipping that narrative, usually seeing the payout in a matter of days. For example, let's take a look at my trade on Realty Income back in January. Now, at the time, this stock was moving higher in hopes of interest rate cuts and the real estate market picking back up. However, if you tossed your favorite indicators on the chart, it would have told you stay away. RSI, you can see it right there above that 70 level, overbought territory, not good. Stochastics crossed over, heading lower. Stock was pulling back after hitting the upper range of the Bollinger Bands. Frankly, there was really no reason anyone should have considered buying the stock in late January. But of course, that didn't really matter to me on January 22nd because the Lotto board flagged this pricing anomaly on ticker O right at 10:14 a.m., which, as I'll show you in a moment, meant that the options were trading for much cheaper than they really should be, in turn dramatically increasing the payout potential along with it and our chances of success too. So I took the trade right away, sharing it with my students in the morning trade room too, and anyone who followed along with the exact options generated by the Lotto board could have pocketed a 167% return in just 15 days on the Lotto. And it was the same story with the trade I took on 3M just the day before that one. The options hit the Lotto board January 21st at 12:46 p.m. So I quickly took the trade, knowing that these options were trading for much cheaper than they really should be, meaning our payout potential was far bigger than usual, even on a very regular, routine, normal move in the stock. Now, when this one all worked out, I was up triple digits, closing out with a 304% return on the 3M Lotto.
Yeah, so just jumping in here for a second after a couple of those trades, two trades, back-to-back days. Once again, you're looking at 500 bucks in each. You would have ended up with $2,357 in profit. Okay, not total, but just profit. If you had 1,000 bucks in each, you're walking away with 4,714 bucks. That's a pretty crazy return from a small investment. And that's more than most folks bring home in a biweekly paycheck just from those two trades, more than enough to cover 2 months of the average mortgage in the United States. Yet, folks could have done it with just a few clicks of the button without needing to be glued to the screen 24/7 to make it happen. Now, I have to admit, if you were just some random guy who I met off the street, especially with that 10 profit factor and everything else, I would be pretty skeptical about this entire thing. But just to be clear, folks, Graham is not some random financial guru that popped up overnight. Let's not forget you first started your trading career when you were a sophomore in high school under the mentorship of a former banking VP. And that was the same year that you happened to test out of all of the college math classes that would have been in your future 6 years in advance. But not just that, your love for data, odds, and numbers help you nail a perfect score on the math portion of the SAT, something I wish I could say, but I can't. But Graham could say it. And now in his 30s, his preliminary IQ tests have scored him in the 150 plus range, which is just to give you guys an idea, that's about 10 points below Einstein. So in other words, Graham's pretty sharp. And what I'm trying to say is I'm not completely shocked that, Graham, you've been able to grow your account at an insane rate over the last few years, or that you've discovered this pricing anomaly hiding in the options market either. But of course, now everyone's wondering, how does it actually work?
Well, Nate, first, let me just say this. Despite the name Lotto Board, I'm actually not a gambler. I don't like the thought of rolling the dice, leaving my chances up to fate, and simply hoping for the best. That doesn't sit right with me, especially because most of the time the odds are stacked against you anyways. But as I'll show you today, by leveraging what I believe is one of the most overlooked anomalies in the markets, we've been able to completely turn the tables around in our favor. Now, in order to show you how this pricing anomaly works, first, I need to talk to you guys about scratch-offs. Yes, those scratch-offs. You see, back in 2018, when I was working on my MBA in New York, just minutes away from Wall Street, a story broke that stopped me dead in my tracks. It was a true story of Jerry and Marge Go Large. Now, in the early 2000s, the Michigan State Lottery had a game called Windfall. The tickets cost $1 each, and as more and more people bought tickets, that money would pool up over time into one big jackpot. However, when the jackpot grew too large without a winner, that prize money would roll down into the smaller price tiers of the Windfall game to help drive the ticket sales. Now, at certain times, when the jackpot grew big enough, the average payout on a $1 scratch off would exceed over $2 in earnings, meaning there were small windows of time where the house was actually paying out more than it was taking in. And buying a scratch off was actually a profitable venture. Now, the Michigan State Lottery knew that was the case, but they didn't really care. That's because their primary goal was to drive a lot of volume in for their overall ticket sales, even if that meant paying out much more during these short windows of time. However, what they didn't account for is that someone would figure this out. Enter Jerry Selby, a retired engineer from Michigan. Now, Jerry wasn't a gambler. In fact, up until this point, he had never bought a lottery ticket in his life. But one morning, he was sitting in the local convenience store when he read the back of a lottery ticket just for fun. And he noticed that there were these certain periods of time when the payouts would get abnormally large, where the average return on a $1 ticket would exceed over $2 in winnings. So he double checked his math, then purchased $3,600 worth of tickets on his first try. How did it work out? Well, he pocketed $6,300, doubling his money on those scratch offs. So then he went back for more, buying $8,500 the second time around when the odds were tilted in his favor, and he doubled his money again, walking away with over $16,000 in winnings. Now, he kept on doing this for years, driving all over Michigan, all over the country when the mathematical edge baked into the game all lined up. Eventually, this is just crazy. Jerry and his wife, Marge, were sitting on over $26 million in lottery winnings, all because he noticed that there were small windows of time where the payouts would be abnormally large, and he could target 2x, 3x, even 5x plus on his money from a very normal, cheap lottery ticket. Now, of course, I'm not here to promise anyone will make $26 million. That's not what we're talking about today. In fact, I can't promise any future returns nor protect against losses. I'm not a genie. However, what I can tell you is that the options market essentially works the same exact way. Most people have no clue, but thanks to the mechanisms used by the market makers to price these options, there are short windows of time in the options market where the options on certain stocks can get dirt cheap, and in turn, making the payout potential on those tickers abnormally large, even on a very normal move in the stock. And just like how Jerry noticed it with the Michigan State Lottery and then took advantage of it, we can now leverage these short windows of opportunity in the options market to target our 2x, 3x, even 5x plus return on our money in just a handful of days. And that's exactly what the Lotto board is designed to do for us each day. Thanks to our real-time data feeds with the CBOE, we have Polygon and a whole bunch of other data feeds. The Lotto board scans through each of the options on every major stock out there, looking for the windows where the options on certain tickers are trading for much cheaper than they should be, which in turn makes the payout potential on those exact options much bigger than usual. Now, when it finds one that's simply too good to pass up, it'll post it over on the board right away, and we can quickly copy and paste the trade over into our own account if we like what we see. For example, just like with my trade on Intel just recently. Now, at the time, this probably wasn't the most attractive stock to trade. With rampant volatility giving investors whiplash, this stock was all over the place with no sense of direction. You can see that there. But then on January 27th, right before the bell, while scanning the endless tickers and option combos out there, the Lotto board flagged this pricing anomaly on Intel, meaning there was a short window of time where the options were going for much cheaper than they really should be, making the payout potential for us much bigger than normal. So without hesitation, I jumped in the trade right away, sharing it with my students in real time too. And while the underlying stock barely budged higher over the next 8 days, we were able to grab a 150% payout on the Intel Lotto. Now, it's the same story with Walmart, the other trade I took that same exact day. Thanks to the Lotto board scanning all of the options on the major tickers simultaneously, we were able to pick up on this pricing anomaly occurring in Walmart, where there was a short window in which these dirt cheap options lended itself to abnormally large payouts, even on a very normal move in the underlying stock. So again, I took the trade, jumping in for 27 cents per contract. And as Walmart ran higher over the coming days, I was clocking out with a 240% payout on the Walmart Lotto. Now that's enough to put in $500 and turn it into $1,703, or $1,500 into $5,000 in one single week from one single trade. Now, you see, these windows of opportunity where the payout potential gets abnormally large, well, they're only possible by first understanding the mechanisms the market makers use to price the options, by understanding how the options pricing model really works. You see, generally speaking, before the market makers ever agree to sell an option to us, the first thing they do is they'll calculate the expected move of the stock. Now, this is a mathematical forecast of how high a stock could realistically move based on its current trajectory, based on the pace that the stock is currently moving at, and where it should most likely end up. Now, once they have that number, they'll then typically look to inflate the price of the options well above that expected move, making it so expensive that you now need the stock to go all the way up there to start making money. And if it doesn't get there, you lose, they win. However, hiding in the midst of the countless tradable options out there, there are a handful of opportunities each day where the numbers are actually inverted, where the market makers have the options price going for less than the expected move of the stock, meaning the options are trading for much cheaper than they really should be given the current trajectory of that ticker. And not only does it make the cost of these options extremely affordable, but with those cheaper prices, we actually don't need the stock to move nearly as far to start making money on the trade. And even if it only drifts a little bit higher in the pace it's already moving, that's enough to give us a legitimate shot to target 2x, 3x, even 5x plus on our money in a matter of days. Now, this is where our opportunity all begins. After running through all of the options contracts on every major ticker out there, the Lotto board then uses that data to extract both the expected move of the specific stock, right, where it's supposed to end up, and also what the market makers currently have priced into the options. Now, whenever it finds an opportunity where the market makers have the options priced for less than the expected move, that means it's a very viable opportunity for us. One where we can target 2x, 3x, even 5x plus on our money from a very routine, regular move in that stock. For example, let's walk through the GE trade that happened back in January. Many of you guys, which I know, took it because you told me about it. Now, at the time, General Electric was one of the best stocks in the S&P. It was one of my favorites, at least. It was on an insane tear since the April lows and showing no signs of slowing down either. So when it popped up on the Lotto board back on January 29th, I have to admit, I was a bit surprised. But I didn't second guess it, and here's why. By looking at the real-time data in the options market, which the Lotto board automatically pulls for us, the Lotto board flagged that while the expected move of the underlying stock was up there at 8.2% in the coming days, the market maker move priced into the options, it was much lower. It was only 5.4%. Now that meant the options were trading for cheaper than they really should be, creating that small window of time where the payouts on the GE options would be abnormally large. And as long as GE kept moving in the direction that it was already headed, in line with that expected move, we'd have a darn good shot of walking away with a very profitable outcome, just like Jerry with the Michigan Lottery. So, of course, I took the trade right away, entering for only 28 cents per contract. And sure enough, 6 days later, the stock moved higher, right in line with that expected move, and I was able to clock out with a 225% payout on this layup opportunity with the GE Lotto. Now, it was the same story with Eaton Corp just a few days later. February 4th, Lotto board flagged on ETN. And while the expected move for the stock was 6.8%, the market maker move priced into the options, it was only 5.7%, meaning the options were trading for much cheaper than they really should be. And with the payout potential much more than usual, I'd have a shot to hit this one out of the park. So I got in the trade right away using the options pre-selected by the Lotto board. And over the next 8 days, ETN moved higher as expected. And I splashed in with a 377% return on this trade. Now that's enough to watch one contract go from $90 to $430 in about a week, or 10 contracts go from $900 all the way to $4,300 before the next paycheck hit.
Yeah, that's a crazy result. And obviously, I wish you told me earlier because I would love to have an extra $4,300 in my account that week. And that doesn't even include the payout that you could have seen 223% just a couple of days before with GE. Someone in the chat said they made 700% on GE.
Wow.
So it's a really, really big deal. And let me just walk through and make sure I'm getting this right, because the example you talked about is insane. So you're saying for one reason or another, we might not even know, instead of ripping us off and charging overpriced premiums on an option, there are specific times when the market makers sell us these options for much cheaper than they really should be priced, which in turn means they can create that higher payout potential and do it much easier than usual since the cost of the contract is lower than it should be. And so that's what gives us that realistic chance to target 2, 3, even 5 times the return on our money, as long as the stock just does what it's expected to do on a regular move. Do I have that right?
Yeah, Nate, you're spot on. And that's exactly what's happening here.
Okay, so that then would leave us wondering, the market makers are obviously very good at their jobs. I mean, they're some of the most intelligent people on Wall Street. They're really good at this. So why would they allow this? And what is the mistake that they're making that allows us to do it?
Well, Nate, it's actually not because of a mistake on the market maker side. Rather, it's because of how the options market is designed and the tactics they must use to drive volume. You see, when I say market maker, it's not like there's only one big firm on Wall Street pulling all the strings. It's not a monopoly out there. Actually, just the opposite. There's dozens of market makers out there all competing to get your options order whenever you put in a trade. Now, it's a constant pricing war between the market makers where the best or lowest price on the options win. Think of it like this, just like if there were a handful of gas stations all across the street from each other competing to get your business. Each one would be trying to take their prices a penny lower than the next, so you're pulling into their station. Now, of course, when the demand is hot and buyers are piling in, the options premiums, they stay inflated. And it makes the competition very easy for these market makers as traders are lining up to overpay. However, when the demand for a stock's option starts to dry up with fewer buyers on the scene, the market makers have to competitively begin lowering their prices to try and land that next customer. Because now it's a pricing war between the market makers where the low man or the best price on the options wins. And they just keep doing this, inching the prices lower and lower until someone is willing to buy. And eventually, if the demand gets low enough, the price of the option will actually drop below the expected move of the stock. Meaning, not only have the options turned dirt cheap, making the payout potential abnormally large, but also our chances of winning just shot up dramatically too, as the stock doesn't need to move nearly as far to start paying us on the options. And that's exactly when the lotto board strikes, when we can easily target the next 2x, 3x, 5x plus payout, even on a very normal move in the stock. For example, like with my trade on Regions Financial back on January 21st. Now, at the time, financial stocks, they weren't the hottest thing on the block. Most of the popular tickers, JP Morgan, Robinhood, Citigroup, many others were down in the dumps. Now, in the case of Regions Financial, it was no different, stuck in a downward spiral for weeks on end. However, none of that really mattered to me because on January 21st, the lotto board flagged RF, meaning due to the decreased demand for those options at the time, the market makers started competitively dropping the prices lower and lower, and it got to the point where the options were eventually trading for less than the stock was expected to move. And that's when the lotto board flagged it for us, noting that while the expected move of the stock was at 10.7%, the market maker move price in the options was only 7.2%, meaning the options were trading for much cheaper than they really should be, giving us a much bigger payout potential than usual, even on a very normal move in the underlying stock. So, of course, I took the trade right away, right from my standard brokerage account. And over the next 2 weeks, while the stock shot higher, making that normal expected move, right as we predicted, I was adding another triple digit winner to my tracker, 415% on this one, enough to turn $500 into $2,576 or 1,000 into 5,153. And it was the same story on Bank of America that hit that next day. Actually, I had two winners on Bank of America. Here's the second one. January 22nd, the lotto board flagged a new opportunity for us on BAC. Again, that meant that due to the lack of demand on these options at the time, the market makers had to competitively lower the prices to land the next buyer coming through the door. Now, eventually, they dropped the price so low that it fell below the expected move of the stock, noting that while the expected move was 7.7%, the market maker move price in the options was only 4.2%. That's a big gap. The bigger, the better.
Yeah.
So anyone could have jumped in on this one that day, like I personally did, knowing that this could easily pay 2 to 5x as long as BAC made a very normal move in our favor. And this time, 15 days later, I exited for 515% on the lotto. Now that's enough to turn $500 into $3,000 or $1,000, and this is just crazy, into $6,153 from one single trade. Now here's where things get really crazy. Here's the crazy thing about it all. You guys are smart, right? You're probably sitting there right now thinking, why would the market makers sell us an option if they know they're most likely going to lose? That doesn't make any sense. They would have to be ridiculous to do that. But that's the thing most people don't understand about market makers. You see, just because we are winning, it doesn't actually mean they are actually losing any money. You see, market makers have sophisticated tactics to make sure they're almost always churning a profit. They'll use delta hedging, Vega offset, bid ask capture, and many other tricks to ensure they're making money on our trading volume, regardless of the outcome, regardless if we're making money or not. So the point I'm trying to make here is the market makers don't even care that this is happening. At the end of the day, they live and die by volume. The more contracts that can trade through their firm, the more they can earn. And that's why this pricing war is so competitive, because their main goal is to get you as their buyer, because volume is their big money maker. And sometimes that means willingly selling us these options for far less than the stock is expected to move, even when our payout potential is now 2, 3, 5 times or more on a very normal move in the stock. Now let's take a look at one more example just for fun. This one on NextEra Energy, one of the biggest winners I've seen so far. February 9th, the lotto board flagged the new opportunity on NEE. And while the expected move was up at 3.3%, the market maker move price in the options was 2.9%, meaning these options were extremely cheap and the payout potential was abnormally large. So I set the trade as I always do. Get this, entering for 8 cents
8 cents.
per
It's crazy.
contract. 8 cents. And in the case of NEE, the stock actually soared way past that expected move. So I hit it out of the park with this one and booked a monster 737% payout in my account. Now, 500 bucks into that one would have turned into $4,000 in about a week. A thousand, you're knocking on the door of nearly 10 grand there. Now, personally, I believe that this anomaly is one of the most overlooked forces that exists in the market today, which is why most people have never heard about it before. But it's not overlooked by hedge funds. It's not overlooked by large trading desks either. In fact, there are dozens of hedge funds with entire trading teams dedicated to leveraging this pricing anomaly. Point72, Capula, QMS Capital, even the $83 billion hedge fund Millennium, who, get this, they have the fourth highest net returns of any hedge fund in the world since 1989. They are making money hand over fist. Now, that's because this opportunity is far too lucrative and obvious for the smart money to pass up. In fact, Robert Whaley, the man who created the VIX, yes, that VIX, was actually one of the first people to notice this. Here's what he concluded. He said, changes in prices are related to option demand imbalances rather than changes in expected future volatility. When buying pressure is weak, like I showed you, the prices tend to decline. Market makers adjust the option prices in response to inventory considerations and order flow. And then LPs at Bloomberg dug into this too, and they found that this pricing anomaly can persist even in highly liquid markets, which simply means this is not going away anytime soon. And now with the Lotto board in your hands starting today, you too can now target these opportunities day after day from the comfort of your sofa.
Yeah, so I mean, this is like a legitimate hack based on a lot of these examples you showed. It really feels like an absolute no-brainer. And that last one on any that 8-cent contract, that was an absolute monster. So imagine that. Imagine coming back Friday, you put in a relatively cheap trade, you open your account, you have an $8,000 profit sitting there. I'd have to do a double take if that was the case. Now, obviously, an extra 8 grand from one trade, that would do a ton. I mean, everyone would obviously be pumped about it. That's not going to be your normal, average, everyday trade, but it is just the tip of the iceberg here today. By looking at your real money tracker so far from all of these Lotto board live trades, I really believe this could make a real difference for a ton of people right now. Again, especially even small accounts because these trades are so cheap. So just take a look at these numbers, folks. These are all the live trades that Graham took in real time. This is not a curve fitted back test, not theoretical. And if you started with just 500 bucks in each of the trades, every single one that Graham has taken so far, including winners and losers, zero compounding, not rolling everything into the next trade. Well, folks in this room, Graham, would be sitting on $41,591 in net profit. That's $20,000 a month they'd be pacing right now. And that's based on just 500 bucks in each over just the last 2 months alone. Now, obviously, that's an insane pace, just crazy. But can you imagine if you kept that rolling, what it would look like after an entire year of taking those Lotto plays?
Well, Nate, it gets me very excited to think of the opportunity at hand here with the Lotto board. And I'm really hoping to hear some crazy good stories like the one we had in the 700% on GE. Man, I'm hoping to hear more from you guys tuning in right now once you get your hands on the Lotto board today. I just want to add one more person to the file, one person at a time with their success story. Now, of course, I want to remind you guys one more time that no strategy wins every time. There's going to be winning trades and losing ones too. So please, guys, listen up. Never invest more than you could afford to lose on any single trade. Now, luckily, with the picks from the Lotto board, you don't have to. In fact, most of these contracts are trading for pennies on the dollars, typically around 50 cents on average to get in. That's $50 per contract, which is actually a big benefit in and of itself because it's much easier for a 10-cent option to get to 50 cents than it is for a $10 option to get to $50, right? And that's one of the reasons our trades can rack up big gains so fast, allowing us to target these outsized payouts without needing a crazy move in the stock. Like with the Lotto I hit on Netflix, the option went from 35 cents when it was flagged by the dashboard. I got in, sold it for 90 cents just a few days later. That's a 162% payout on the trade. Same thing with GameStop. Option went from 8 cents to 25 cents. They may not sound like a lot, but that's a big return, 212% return on the options. Or like the one on, this one was CVS here. It went from 9 cents to 36 cents. That's a 300% payout in 8 days there on the options. Now, of course, if you wanted to go out there on your own and find the next Lotto style to trade, I'd have to admit it would be a grueling task. I don't even know if it would be possible to do it all by hand. Because first off, you have to map out the expected move on countless tickers at a time. And then on top of that, you have to manually compare that to the market maker move priced into the options on thousands of strike and expiration combinations at a time. So actually finding these setups and trying to maintain a really high win rate too is like finding a needle in the haystack. It can take days, even weeks of work to find a really strong trade to take. And I'll be honest, even as someone with substantial resources who works in the trading world full time, I still run into that same challenge. Sometimes I'll find a setup that I really want to trade, but the options, they just don't fit the bill. Other times I'll get exhausted after flipping through 40, 50 stocks and literally run out of steam before I can even pair up an options trade that I love. And I'm sure some of you have felt the same way from time to time as well. But that's exactly why I built the Lotto board, because now we don't have to waste hours upon hours trying to find a good stock to focus on, and we don't have to flip through the options chain crunching numbers until our brain hurts either. Instead, with about 15 seconds of our time, we can have some of the very best setups in the whole market served up on a silver platter, where the Lotto board automatically populates the most lucrative ones for us. From there, it's just a matter of clicking a few buttons to lock and load of the trade, and we are off to the races. Now, today, I'd like to hook you up with the newest opportunity by giving you immediate access to the Lotto board today. Now, the Lotto board is the only tool I know of that automatically tees up with the exact options that have shown the power to pay 2x, 3x, 5x plus, all off the back of this pricing anomaly in the options market. Now, each and every day, you can pull up the Lotto board and let it do all of the heavy lifting for you. When you click the link to access the online version of the Lotto board, you'll immediately see the top 3 opportunities selected for the day. Now, that 2x Lotto, that's going to use the most conservative options of the bunch. It should give you the highest win rate. That 3x, that's the more moderate approach of the group. And then that 5x Lotto, 5x plus, where we're going for the absolute moonshot on this pricing anomaly. Now, I want you to rest assured that these daily opportunities are not picked at random, not by any means. In order to make it as a top Lotto board play for the day, the stock has to pass a few very rigorous filters. First off, as you know, the options price has to be currently trading for less than the expected move of the stock. That's our edge. And again, the bigger that gap, the better. But I don't blindly take every trade where this pricing anomaly lines up, and the Lotto board doesn't either. That's because there's a few elements that can help drastically increase our chances of the trade working out and maximize our investment too, where we can only isolate the stocks that are directionally aligned with our options. And that's why programmed into the Lotto board is a proprietary momentum score, monitoring both the medium and short-term trend of that stock. So in order to make it to the top of the list each day on the Lotto board, both these momentum scores must be positive. Now, if it does, that means the underlying stock is directionally aligned with our options position so that we're swimming with the tide, not swimming upstream against it. Now, this is the secret sauce that's kept my winners so big while maintaining an extraordinarily high win rate at the same time. And of course, there's no extra legwork needed on your end to find these opportunities because the Lotto board is programmed to automatically run through all of the major stocks out there and then post it at the top of the list for us if it passes the test. From there, it's just a matter of clicking on the tile to review the details and taking the trade if you like what you see. For example, like with my trade on Fastenal back on January 28th. That morning at 10:57 a.m., the Lotto board flagged a new opportunity on FAST. The options prices trading for less than the expected move, meaning the options were trading for much cheaper than they should be, in turn making the payout potential far bigger than normal. Both momentum filters were positive, meaning the stock was directionally aligned with our options position. So anyone could have taken a few seconds to jump in on the trade, and sure enough, a few days later, FAST ran higher in line with that expected move, and I was scoring another win, 256% payout on the trade. That's enough to turn $500 into $1,700 or $1,000 into $3,500 in just 9 days. Now, of course, knowing when to enter is very, very important. But that's only half the battle because you also need to know when to exit to. And that's why the Lotto board is programmed to give us the exact exit target for our trades as well. By using the projections generated from the expected move on the stock, it marks a clear line in the sand where the stock realistically should go and when we can book our profit. Of course, you'll see that target price on the right side, and it will also give you a visual on the charts as well. That way, it doesn't matter if it hits the target overnight, in a few days, or next week. We know exactly when it's time to close out our trade for optimal returns on the move. For example, like with BIIB, Biogen. At that day, the stock was at the top of the Lotto board. The options with an abnormally large payout potential, momentum passing the test, the option selection already posted for you, including the cost of entry, and then of course the exit target too, matched up with the expected move. So anyone who took the trade on with me on BIIB that day could have jumped in the morning of January 21st, 55 cents a contract, with the target already added to the chart for you. And 9 days later, watched as it hit that target, no problem. And then we just closed the trade, locking in a 345% payout on this one. It was the same story with Textron on February 5th. February 5th, the Lotto board flagged TXT. Options with an abnormally large payout potential, momentum passing the test, and the selection already posted for you, including that cheap cost of entry. And the exit target as well lined up with the expected move. Now, this one I have to admit truly shocked me because I entered on February 5th. I shared it in Telegram too. Hopefully, you guys got a piece of this one. And then the next day, February 6th, it was already smashing through that expected move, through the target. So I closed the trade, watching as my options went from 12 cents to 112 overnight. That's 646% payout on the TXT Lotto in under 24 hours. One of the biggest returns I've seen so far from the Lotto board.
Yeah, that one is ridiculous. So just let's take a timeout. First of all, incredible result, literally overnight. $500 into 3,733 in one trading session, or $1,000, which gets even crazier, 7,466 by the time you woke up the next day as that ripped higher. But I really don't think that's the most impressive part. We got to talk about this. So those trades were not like, rebound of COVID when everything was going up. This was during recent really ugly markets where the broad market was actually going down. The S&P was down 3% at the same time, and the NASDAQ was down 5% over that same time. So I know that you're calling for a breakout around the corner in the broad market. I am as well. One of the strongest runs that we've seen in a while, we're hoping is coming. But if you're hitting winners of 345% or 646% when the market looks as ugly as it has, I can only imagine how hot things could get when the broad market is actually moving in our favor as well.
Well, Nate, that's actually one of the great things with the Lotto board. With the pricing anomaly we're tapping into each day, plus the filters used to validate the direction of our trade, we don't need the broad market working in our favor to land some of these incredible results. Of course, when it does move with our trade, it's just like adding gasoline on the fire. So I'm very, very excited about the opportunities at hand over the coming year. However, I know some of you may be worried that there could be a bear market around the corner, and you might believe that we have more downside ahead in the coming months than upside. Well, if that's you, the Lotto board has you covered. Whenever you log into the online version of the Lotto board each day, not only will you see the bullish Lotto plays lined up for you, rocked and ready to roll, but you'll also get the bearish ones too. And these setups are the exact same type of opportunities I've been showing you today, except they're to the downside, where the options are still trading for less than the expected move, but the momentum filters are negative, pointing towards a continued drop. Instead of using the calls, we simply buy puts selected by the Lotto board. Now, this can be a great way to trade, especially with all the volatility we've seen lately, but don't just take my word for it. Take a look at some of my real money trades that I hit to the downside over the last few weeks. This one on Synopsys, 134% in 8 days. Bearish one on Lulu, 169% in 6 days. This one on Lamb Weston, I couldn't even believe this price that I got filled at a penny. Landed 500% payout in under 24 hours. That's enough to see 100 go to 500 or 500 go to 2,500 in a single day. So when I say these bearish lottos have just as much potential as the bullish ones, you know I mean it. Now, of course, these bearish lotto plays have been added to your Lotto board membership today for no extra cost, meaning every single day you'll have the top 3 bullish and bearish lottos up there for you. Plenty of opportunities to get you going. Now, if you have any additional questions about how the Lotto board works or the setups that line up each day, I'll be having a live masterclass where we'll walk through it together, answering any of the questions you might have, plus taking a few trades together in the class too, if you want to follow along.
Yeah, so I mean, this is just getting better and better, which obviously I've been excited about. And given the amount of time and money that we've poured in as a company into this tool, let alone the resources you poured in individually, and the annual maintenance cost that we're about 250 grand, just data, tech team, everything else. Obviously, the Lotto board is worth a ton of money. And if you wanted in this room to go get that edge, the one that you've built over time using the Lotto board, if you wanted to go use a hedge fund like Millennium or one of those, What you would first need is a private invitation and a couple $1 million for them to take your money. And then you would pay 2% of the capital they're holding and 20% of the profits along the way, too. So I don't think it's unreasonable to say that the value of this is just insane, worth $15,000 a year or more because of the data feeds going into it.
Well, Nate, I'm sure it is, but it's not going to cost folks anywhere near that to join today. That's if you take one of the founding memberships available. But before we talk price and drop the link for you to access the Lotto board right away, I do have a few more special bonuses for you guys. I'm going to fly through these because I know a lot of people in the chat are asking if they can get their hands on this right now. But these bonuses, just as a warning, they're only reserved for the folks who take one of the founding memberships while they're still available. Now, originally, my team to program the Lotto board to only give you the top 3 bull and bear opportunities per day, but I went ahead and made a big upgrade myself. So when you log into to access the Lotto board today, you're not just going to get the top picks of the day. Those are the cream of the crop, right? But if you click that second tab here, you'll see that you've been automatically upgraded to have what I call unrestricted access. That's where you'll get all of the Lotto board picks market wide each and every day. And trust me, there's a whole bunch of them. That way, there's no shortage of Lotto plays waiting for you when you join today. Now, my team wants me to sell this unrestricted version separately as an upcharge, charging an extra $19.95 for the upgrade. And we probably will do that in the future, running it for $2,000. But if you take one of the founding member spots today, you're going to be upgraded for free. You're going to be grandfathered in. It's not going to cost you a penny extra, even if we sell it down the road for much, much more. But I'm not done yet. This is the big one. Due to an overwhelming response from the folks who have been taking these Lotto board trades with me over the last few months, I've decided that for the founding members of the Lotto board, I'm going to do something totally crazy. You see, the original plan was to get the Lotto board into the hands of regular folks right away. And then a few months down the road, we launched the alerts version, the Lotto board alerts, where I send you the best of the best, the ones I'm putting my money into, with the entry and exit alerts coming to your email and cell phone. Now, I'm sure we'll do that in the future, and we've already agreed that the price will likely start around $3,000 per year. But if you join today, get this, if you take action on the founding memberships while they're still available, you're going to get instant access to the Lotto board alerts included for free. Not only does this save you an extra $3,000 down the road, but you'll also start getting my handpicked lottos right away this very week.
Okay, hold up. This is so basically, because we already talked about this being a separate thing, you're giving away access to the trades you've been personally leveraging, the exact ones we've been seeing in the track record with this ridiculous 70+% accuracy and the insane 10.4 profit factor, but also the ones that have showed a tiny $500 starting stake, which we just went through, and would have generated $41,591 in profit in less than 2 months. And you're saying now we're going to tack all of that on for free. Are you insane?
Maybe a little bit, but Nate, my goal is to give folks, the newest members, the best possible experience I possibly can. And by including these 2 upgrades for free, I think we're doing just that. Now, like you said, I'm sure we could price the Lotto board for $10,000 or more, and it would still be an awesome deal. But today, it won't run you anything near that. Of course, given those real-time results, it shouldn't shock you guys that the team demanded that I set the retail price at $6,590 for the year. And if you go to our main homepage, that's the going rate that you'll see. However, for the folks who join from inside this room today, I've got a few tricks up my sleeve to cut that cost down dramatically. First off, I'm going to extend a founding membership half off discount if you join today. That'll immediately take the price from the retail listing of $65.90 all the way down to $32.95 for your first year. And then on top of that, if you go ahead and sign up today from the link my team is about to post in the chat, you'll also see that I personally added in another $1,000 credit on top of the subscription, taking the price from $65.90 all the way down to $2,295 today. Now, I wanted to give you that additional $1,000 credit so that you could use it towards your first Lotto plays if you'd like, and hopefully generate some really, really remarkable results in your first week or so. My goal is ultimately that you can make enough to cover the subscription cost in what feels like no time, knowing that everything after that is just gravy on top. It's icing on the cake. Now, of course, if you just want to take that $1,000 and stuff it back into your wallet, you're welcome to do that too.
All right, so let's just make sure that I've got you right on this, because this is actually getting ridiculous. You're going to give away what, quite frankly, could be the most powerful tool we've ever developed here. Then you're going to include the instant upgrade to the unrestricted version of that tool, which would normally be a big VIP upgrade, all for only $22.95 for the first year. And you mentioned the alerts as well. So are we on the same page about how ridiculous this is getting?
Yeah, Nate, that's exactly right. I want this deal to be so good for my best students that there's no reason why they can't get started today. But remember, these bonuses are only reserved if you take one of the founding memberships while they're still available. Now, given the magnitude of the opportunity at hand, plus the hundreds of students who have already reached out to say they want in on the Lotto board, if things get too crazy and my team feels like they can't give each member that white glove experience that they deserve, we're just going to cut it off. We'll shut it down. So it's going to be first come, first serve today.
Well, folks, this is a deal that I don't think anyone in here wants to miss, but we are going to warn you again. Access to the Lotto board with special upgrades, all the massive add-ons is only going to be for the founding members. So as long as the founding member special is open, you get all the stuff, the crazy deal. If you say no thanks, you click away, then obviously you would expect to pay more down the road. So if you're ready to be one of the first ever, really the first ever, to unlock the Lotto board for yourself, get that automatic massive upgrade to the unrestricted version with thousands of dollars in savings. Plus, you get the premium alerts, which so many people were asking about. How do I get Graham's trades? Get all of those added into the membership for zero extra cost. Now is the time to jump right in. Dave just posted the link. You can click that link in the chat. That's going to pull up the already discounted membership form that has the half off, plus the 1,000, plus the upgrades, everything on that link. You can click and lock in your founding membership right now, or just call our team. Make sure to tell them you're on the webinar right now. You want the founding member discount. That's 904-706-3537. All right, so take advantage right now. That's the link. You can type in, you can click the chat, you can call. Either way, just make sure you're seeing the founding membership special, because that's what's going to lock everything in for $22.95, which honestly is so much less than everything we plan to kind of compound down the line with the Lotto board. So pretty excited about this, and hopefully you guys take advantage before it's over.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about this, Nate. Super stoked. We've got a lot of questions in the chat. I'm going to answer them all in just a moment, guys. We're going to dive into the chat. Now, I can't wait to hear from you once you get started. If that's you, and I hope it is, I actually have a few more bonuses up my sleeve for you today that we haven't had a chance to cover yet. I didn't want this to go any longer before you guys could access, but I will talk about these more in just a moment. Now, first, once you click that link in the chat, you'll see that both of the discounts we discussed today have already been applied. We got the half off discount and that $1,000 additional credit, taking the price for the founding members to $22.95 today. Now, as long as you join today and claim one of the founding memberships while they're still available, you'll see that you've also automatically been upgraded to get the unrestricted access. This is a $2,000 bonus on top, and most importantly, immediate access to the Lotto board alerts, where I'll be sending you the entry and exit alerts with the options criteria, the ones I'm personally taking in my account, the cream of the crop. And with your founding membership today, you'll automatically have those Lotto board alerts added into your membership for no extra cost. So that's like taking $3,000, stuffing it right back into your wallet. Now, for those of you who would like to save even more money, I've also included a special 2-year deal on the checkout page as well. So if you take that, it will effectively bring the cost of the subscription down from $22.95 per year to an even lower rock bottom $13.97 per year. So when you click that link in the chat, I would recommend taking that 2 years. It's like getting another 40% off the already discounted founding membership price. So if you'd like to take me up on that sweet deal, make sure to check the 2-year box before confirming your membership. Guys, click that link in the chat or give us a call, 904-706-3537 to get started. Again, when you join today, when you get the founding membership while it's still available, I'm also going to include those Lotto board alerts in for free. You won't have to pay separately down the road.
Well, I need to get off this class so that I can get my hands on the Lotto board and see what we got today before the closing bell rings, because your real money results have been electric. I mean, we showed so many examples. Obviously, the total results, the net results, insane. And we didn't even get to show half of the winners throughout this presentation, even though people were saying, oh my gosh, they just keep coming. So some of the stories from the folks who were able to take a handful of these lottos are just incredible. Here's just a few more that we've gotten, and there's a lot more than this, but this one is JPM, GE, Fast, all over 100% winners. Glenn said he was in at 38 cents, out at 143, 276% on Realty. And then Emma, which is Altria, in at 15, out at 47 for 213%. And he said several more are in profit as well. And then Mike said easy to enter, easy to understand the trades, 202%, 188%, 67%. Pretty awesome. I think Mike's in the chat here right now. Deborah said a handful of trades had a minimum of 100%. Hey, pretty good when your minimum return is 100%. And then the highest was over 300%. Great job, Deborah. John said easy to enter. And when they hit, they move fast, 1.5 times on Lulu and 3x on BIIB. So now the question is, who's going to be next? Who's going to jump in, see if we can get some more of those monster winners? Doesn't mean every trade's going to be a winner. You guys know the drill. But they've been coming fast and furious, and it's been a lot of fun. And I'm excited to hear a lot more from folks jump in on these lotto picks.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is once you lock in your membership, you'll have instant access. You can go ahead and check it out today while the markets are open. Now, I've had about 10 people ask in the chat, is there a lifetime option? And the answer is yes. And you're going to love the special bonus we have running for it today. So once you claim your founding membership today and then click the button to continue and submit your membership, it will take you to another page. On that next page, it will ask you if you also want lifetime. Now, there's no obligation, no pressure, but if you want lifetime access with no renewal fees ever again, you can claim it for one more time payment today. And if you do take lifetime, your Lotto board actually gets another major upgrade. Now, this next part is huge, so please listen up. Lifetime members will also get access to the limitless version of the Lotto board. So there's like, today's top plays. I already gave you guys unrestricted. This is going to be the limitless version, where your Lotto board will give you a search bar that you can automatically source options for on every major ticker in the stock market. Plus, you can toggle the filters on and off to override the system at your discretion, giving you a virtually unlimited amount of opportunities. Now, once you type in a ticker, here's the cool thing. It's going to pull up all of the potential Lotto setups on the options for that stock. So here's an example on Apple. I typed in Apple. You can see there's a ton of different lottos. Now, here's the thing. It gives you both the bullish and bearish ones. So if you're looking at Apple and you're bullish, you'll have plenty of great opportunities automatically sourced for you. If you're wanting to trade Apple and you're bearish, well, you have that at your fingertips as well. Now, these are designed to be opportunities no one else outside of the lifetime members will get. And this will simply open the door to help you find additional, maybe even better Lotto-like opportunities than the base membership. Now, my team did not want me to release this to the public yet. They wanted to keep it separate and do another upcharge, maybe $5,000 for this search bar limitless access. However, if you go lifetime today, you're going to get lifetime access, never pay again. You also get the limitless version upgrade included for free. Plus, again, you get legacy access. If at any time you want to pass your membership off to a friend or family member, you can do that free of charge, and they will get your lifetime access immediately. So, guys, that link is in the chat to go ahead and join the Lotto board today, where you can access it right now. Again, remember, if you want to save yourself a little extra money, go with that 2-year deal. It's going to bring down that cost even further on an annual basis. Or if you'd like to call in and speak to someone, our number is 904-706-3537.
Yeah, well, the lifetime upgrade, I think, is a no-brainer. I've got to see the limitless action. It's pretty sweet. Any stock you want, both directions, searches and finds. Hey, there's a 2x opportunity, there's a 3x opportunity, there's a 5x. Obviously, this should be a massive upgrade cost because, again, the amount of data, you guys got to realize the amount of data and tech work that goes in these projects these days for us is massively significant. So, obviously, if you guys do the lifetime, it's not going to run you anything near that. You got to jump in today. I wouldn't think twice about it. If you don't love it, obviously, you could just downgrade after that, but I think everyone's going to love the limitless version, especially considering, once again, the results. And Graham, as a question for you, I think a couple of these came from ones that you searched and found a stock that you liked and put on. Is that true?
Yeah, and that's why I added this filter, because sometimes there's strict criteria to make it to the top of the Lotto board. Not every stock's going to make it, but sometimes I found one that I really liked, and so with that search bar, you can open up and discretionarily find these Lotto plays, even if it doesn't meet every specific criteria on the Lotto board itself.
Yeah, so part of the history of this ridiculous run that Graham's been on are some tickers that he just really liked the ticker, searched it, found the one he wanted. It's part of why this track record is so good, sitting at a win rate north of 70%. Average return is in the triple digits, which is just ridiculous again. And the profit factor at over 10, which is hard to wrap your head around. That means for every $1 lost, over $10 made back is what that profit factor means. So this membership is red hot. It is stacked to the gills. And if you're a serious trader looking to level up, I mean, why not take the lifetime pass? It's pretty maxed out as far as memberships are going to go. And I know a whole bunch of people, I've already seen a ton of people say, and I know we didn't get to shout everyone out in the chat, but thanks everyone who's all in. I know there's 50 people probably who said, hey, I'm in before I even got to see the presentation just from following along for the last few months. So excited to have all of you guys on board.
Yeah, the really cool thing too is that with the search bar, I can also add in tickers as well. So if there's other tickers that we like outside of the major stocks, Nasdaq and S&P, and a few of other ones I put in, we can add those into the board too. Now, folks, I do want to see your name. I do want to hear if you are in on this. Post Lotto in the chat if you're already in today. I want to see your name so I can point back to this moment in the future as a moment that we started in on this journey together. Now, if that's you, and I hope it is, I do have a few more special perks for you today that we didn't get a chance to cover yet. So I'm going to cover these, then we'll answer your questions. The bonuses just keep going. Now, there is the first one is the trade journal. Now, I realize many of you trade a handful of strategies and can sometimes have a hard time keeping track of what's what. That's why I had the developers code in this special feature for you guys so you can easily keep track of your trades that are Lotto board entries. So when you open up the Lotto board and click on a ticket you want to trade, you'll have all the details you need to follow along. And then if you want to, you can't really see it here, but if you click right there, there's a little bookmark link in the top right. It will save it to your profile. Now, once you do that, you can go to the My Lottos tab and come back and see it saved in your trade journal down below. Now, this should be a very easy way for you to keep track of the trades you've taken from the Lotto board, so you can always refer to it down the road. Now, next up, as a founding member, you also get access to the movement ratio scan. If you click on that third tab, which you see right there, this will show you all of the individual options expirations filtered by the Lotto board. Now, you don't need to use it, but I wanted to include it, and here's why. If you scroll to the very bottom of the list, you will see all the tickers that are marked as very, very overpriced. Those are the tickers where the options are trading for much more than the expected move of the stock, just like what we talked about earlier. Now, the reason I wanted you to have this is because many of you use a couple different strategies, but you may not have a great way to know if you're getting in at a good or bad deal on the options. Well, this should solve that issue for you. And if you really want to take it to the next level, you could also flip some of these very overpriced ones into income plays that get paid on the lack of direction. Now, again, you don't need this. Everything is already automated by the Lotto board, but this is just a cool little bonus perk for anyone who's interested in diving a bit deeper. And then lastly here, guys, while you can most certainly access the Lotto board from your computer or laptop, we also have it set up via mobile app, meaning you can catch these trades from your cell phone anywhere in the world. Now, I have to admit, sometimes I'll catch these while I'm sitting out by the pool catching my lunch break. And that's only possible because my team worked hard to add in the mobile access feature to the Lotto board for us to use. So if you haven't already, click that link in the chat to get started, guys. We got a sweet, sweet, awesome deal for you guys today. The retail price on the main site, $6,000. We knocked that half off. And then for the founding members, if you claim one while it's available, $22.95 for your first year. You can get that 2 years if you want to save extra. And then the biggest perk here is that you're going to get the entry and exit alerts from me included as well. Those will come via email and cell phone. They'll be in the one-click members area as always. So guys, go to prosperitypub.com/lotto or give us a call at 904-706-3537. We'll get you taken care of.
Well, Graham, I've said it 4 times now, but we keep just getting better and better and better here with all of the upgrades and the options. So, guys, I know there's a ton of people in the chat, ton of questions. We'll get through all those. Let's just go through the obvious ones that I'm sure we'll get. So, Graham, first question: do I need to install something to use the Lotto board?
No installation of anything. No code, no downloads, nothing to install. Once you take one of the spots, you'll be sent a secure username and password to the members portal where you can easily access today's new entry right from your computer, tablet, or cell phone anywhere in the world. It's a web-based page, so nothing to install.
All right, and then one of the questions, we actually got this from a few people already in the chat too. What if they're new? They're not an advanced options trader. Is Lotto a good fit for them?
I absolutely think so. The Lotto board gives you a big edge with clear and structured entry alerts with everything you need to know to set your trades, especially considering that I'm also going to send you some as well. So if you're worried about not knowing which one to pick, I have you covered because I will send you the ones that I like the best. I will send it to you when we have an entry and I will send it to you when we have an exit. Those are going to be my real-time trades.
All right, and then here's a question for just making sure we're clear on how automated the Lotto board really is. Does it give you the ticker and the exact options criteria that you're going to use to place the trade?
Yeah, the Lotto board automatically sources the exact options to buy for optimal results using that expected move of the stock. No extra legwork on your end. And it even shows you the total profit potential at expiration if you really want to go for the maximum returns. I covered this in the trainings. Now, if you just want to trade the underlying, you can do that and just use that expected move. It's a great way to swing trade some stocks.
All right. And then how much is the average trade going to cost if you're doing the options?
Well, these are dirt cheap. On average, the usual entry is about 50 cents per contract. That's $50. With that said, it can range with some as low as 10 cents, others at a buck or $100. Now, the good news is there's no shortage of entries. So if you don't like one or you think it's too expensive, you can totally pass on it.
All right. And then one of the questions, because a couple of these trades were quick, do I need that 25K day trading account for this?
No, it's not day trading. You don't need to worry about any of that. I think of the 50 some odd trades I've taken, two ended up being a day trade because they were up so big so fast. But no, this is not day trading. You don't need to have a huge account.
And we got to ask this one more time. Will every trade be a winner, Graham?
No, you and all smart investors know that there's nothing that wins all the time. So far, we're enjoying a 70% win rate on the closed trades. Now, of course, if you look at the Lotto board, that 2x route is designed to give us the highest win rate. The 3x will be in the middle. The 5x plus approach should be still really good with the largest payout potentials for us.
All right. And then here's a question because it kind of goes to the lottery example. If too many people start doing this, can we lose our entire edge with that option pricing?
Well, Nate, that would kind of make sense, but I'm honestly not too concerned about it. Here's why. First off, there's multi-billion-dollar hedge funds taking advantage of these types of setups too. They run way more money through the options market than we could ever dream of. So if they can trade this way and not lose their edge, I'm pretty sure we can too. And that's why Bloomberg people found that this persists even in highly liquid markets, which means it's not going away anytime soon. And it's not like this just happens on random one-off stocks either. This anomaly occurs in the options on some of the most popular stocks out there, like Cisco, 220%, General Electric, 225%. Someone posted 700%. I wish I was you, but I got 225%. Can't complain. Bank of America, very, very popular liquid stock, 515%. Many more. So my point is, I think this advantage will last for years and years. And it's happening each week on some of the most popular liquid names out there. Now, with that said, you may have noticed that the options generated by the Lotto board are a basic debit spread. So as always, when it comes to trading options, just be sure to use a limit order. That way you set the price you're willing to pay. And don't feel like you have to chase any if they start moving quickly. There are dozens of opportunities at your doorstep each way. Now, here's the thing. For those of you who only want to trade the basic calls and not the debit spread, no worries. You can do that too. With that criteria listed next to the buy logo, it has just the basic call there as well. So I've got you covered as well.
All right. And then one of the questions is because you showed a lot of the examples with the top three. Is that what we get? The top three picks each day?
Well, you do. When you click the link to access the online version, you'll immediately see the top three. These are the top ranked ones, the 2x Lotto, the 3x Lotto, and the 5x Plus. But not just that. You'll also have the bullish and bearish ones. So you flip that tab there from bullish to bearish. So there's six right there out of the gate. Those are the top ranked ones. But that's not all. Now, this is a bonus only reserved for the founding members. But originally, my team programmed the Lotto to just give those three, but I went ahead and made a big upgrade myself. So if you click the second tab right here, that's going to open it up to the unrestricted access where you'll see all of the Lotto plays market-wide each and every day. And there are a bunch of them. There's no shortage of Lotto plays waiting for you when you join. Now, of course, they want to sell this separately, and we may do that in the future. But if you take one of the spots today, it's included for free.
All right. And then what about exits? Because we got that question a bunch of times.
Yeah, by using the projections generated from the expected move on the stock, it marks a clear line in the sand where the stock realistically should go and when to book the profit. So you'll see the target price on the right side, and it'll give you a visual on the charts as well. Now, this is mathematical calculation using the last 20 days of net candle movement to just map out, hey, realistically, if this stock keeps doing whatever it's doing, where is it going to be? And that's where we get that potential move set up. Now, of course, it doesn't matter if it hits a target overnight, in a few days, or next week. This helps us close out the trade for the optimal results on the move. Now, if you guys want to go for the max profit, the most you can possibly make on a trade, you can hold through expiration. Normally, I like to book profits when we hit that target, when we have that big move and then get to the next one. But sometimes the trade will look so good and be so far in the money that I'll let it ride for maximum. That's what I did with APA just recently. Took it on February 4th for 17 cents. Next couple of days, it grinded around, didn't get to the target. Now, at this point, I had 2 days left until expiration. Yeah, both my strikes were surprisingly in the money. So I just pulled off the target myself and went for the full profit. And when it was all said and done, I finished well in the money, which paid me that maximum 194% by simply waiting it out.
Yeah, the funny thing is 194% payout on APA is actually smaller than your average. So you made 194%, you actually lowered your average win on that one.
Yeah.
But $1,000 would have paid out 1,940 bucks in profit there on APA, and not just letting it ride and expire for the full profit.
Yeah.
That's enough for the entire membership, basically, or nearly the entire membership on one kind of, underwhelming trade, let's say, by comparison to your average winner. And so then one more question. If we take the lifetime where you really just stacked it up like crazy, let's just run through everything that includes one more time.
Yeah, so with the lifetime, obviously you don't have to pay any more renewal fees, but you also get that search bar. You type in any ticker, it allows you to get a little more discretionary here. So if I typed in Apple, which I did yesterday, I took the screenshot, it pulls up all the Lotto setups, the bullish ones, the bearish ones, so you can line it up with how you want to trade that stock. Now, these are designed to be opportunities no one outside the lifetime members will get, and it's going to open the door for you to take more opportunities down the road.
All right. And then what if I have questions about just how to use the dang thing when I get started?
Yeah, well, there's a getting started video in there for you guys right now. Of course, I'll be hosting a live masterclass where we'll walk through it together, answering the questions. And if you need any additional assistance, we have our world-class customer support team. They're actually open Monday through Saturday, standing by to answer any questions you might have. For some reason you don't love it, you got 14 days to try it out, and you can always swap it out for something else. Or we'll get you taken care of with the refund if that's what you need. Now let's pop into the chat, guys, and let's answer some questions. I apologize. We went a little bit longer than I initially imagined, but I know we have a ton of questions in the chat.
Yeah, great job, guys. This is so exciting. I know, it's been killing it, even in the testing group and the trades that you've been posting. But the fact that you're now going to be making it available to everybody, plus you're going to be doing the alerts is really, really cool. We literally have hundreds of questions, folks. Give us the time here. We're going to get to as many of them as we can. I'm going to go start all the way from, the first question, which was about how many trades a week will they get from the from the tool as compared to from the alerts?
So the tool is going to give you, you guys have seen me use it in opening playbook. We get a bunch of them from the tool. The alerts, it'll just depend on the setups at hand. It could be 1 to 2 in a week. It could be 5. If we like, say for example, we had a deep pullback in the market and it looked like we were setting up to go back higher, we might load up to get some real extra opportunities on the lottos. If we, have some more chop, it may just be 1 to 2 where we have to be more selective. But those will come to you via email and cell phone. They'll also be posted in the one-click trading members portal as well.
And then are you going to train them on like how to select the ones on their own and how to pick from all the choices?
Yep. And that's why I have that top plays in there. That's a great place to get started because it already meets the criteria we want to look for, where the options are paying more than they should be based on the normal move in the stock. And the momentum is in our favor, meaning it's already moving in our direction. Of course, I will in the masterclass walk you through everything I look for, exactly what I want to see. And then I'll tee that up for you in the alerts as well.
Cool. All right. Let's see. How much are you going to be putting on each trade?
It just depends. I can't really say a set amount on each individual trade. If it's really, really good, I may go more. If it's a lower allocation for me, I may go less, but it just depends on the situation.
There were a handful of questions about brokers and stuff. So if you just kind of want to cover general statement, they can use pretty much any broker they
Yeah,
want to
any
use.
brokerage. I use Charles Schwab. I actually do it in my retirement account with Charles Schwab, so you can use any main regular brokerage. You just need options to take advantage of these outsized returns. And of course, like I said, it works in the retirement account as well.
Are these going to overlap with any of your other programs? Are they going to be repeat trades?
Uh, they are not intended to be repeat trades of any programs. These are meant to be their very own. Now, if on the clock stocks has a seasonal breakout on, let's say Apple, and the lotto board has an awesome opportunity on Apple, I'm not going to pass up on Apple from the lotto board just because I'm trading it on the clock. But they're going to be different options, different approach.
Right. There were a handful of questions that I imagine you'd rather get into in the training, but just to say that or to answer them, about how you calculate the expected move and how do you know when the price is going to move and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so the expected move is calculated based on the last 20 net days or net candlestick of that stock and then averaged out. And then we match it up with the expiration to see, all right, what is the actual trajectory of the stock right now headed towards that expiration? And then we go to the options market and pull the at the money straddle to get what the market makers have priced in. Now, just generally speaking, most of the time the market makers have the options priced outside of that calculated move. That's why that, a lot of times the options will be very expensive and you will maybe not even make money even if the stock moves for you. But we're looking for the handful of opportunities where the stock is actually moving at a faster pace, at a faster rate than the market makers have priced in. That's our edge. That's where we take advantage.
And of course, just to repeat, because a bunch of people asked, this is not day trading. You may occasionally get one that closes out quickly, but that's not going to be the norm. Do you know what the average hold time is?
The average hold time is 10 days so far.
Okay. Question about how you're picking whether it's puts or calls.
So the Lotto board here, I'll just flip it over here. The Lotto board, for the bullish ones, it has to be moving at an accelerated pace. So here's a good one. CL, you can see that pace. It's moving higher and higher. It's got to meet our minimum trend filters. And then also the momentum on the short term has to be positive and the medium term has to be positive. That's a bullish one. Bearish ones, you're going to see them heading in the other direction. So Disney and a downwards trend right now. Sorry, let me do this. Downwards trend right now. The Lotto board uses the trend filters to say if it's bullish or bearish. And then also the momentum on the short term has to be negative and the medium term has to be negative. So that's how we're going to get the difference between the bullish and the bearish ones.
I like how colorful you made the whole thing. It's very
I
pretty.
thought it was pretty cool looking.
Yeah. Is
Mhm.
there a particular time of day that is better if they're not with the alerts because that's obviously whenever it happens, but when they're using the board itself, is there a particular time of day that's better or day of the week?
No, not exactly. I will say this: it takes till about 10 a.m. to load in all the options because the first 15 minutes of market open, the options prices are really wide, so it's like would be impossible to actually get the real numbers. But then about 10 o'clock is when you'll see them start populating, 10 a.m. and then all the way up until the closing bell. So anytime during that window, if you like what you see, you can take advantage. These are not meant to be, quick day trade scalps, anything like that. So you don't need to worry about rushing into a pick either.
So this was a separate question, but kind of on the same topic. You would be fine taking, one or more trades each day of the week. Like you could place
Yeah.
trades all 5 days of the week.
Yeah, I've done that. We showed you guys today. There's a couple days or a couple weeks maybe where I took consecutive trades back to back and worked out quite well.
Yeah. All right. Let me get. I just got to a point where I couldn't respond to everybody and just told them I'll get to their questions. Let me just scroll back here for a second. Um, just give them a little idea
I,
of kind of how you're managing the exits.
yeah, just real quick, I see a lot of people are saying they haven't got their login or it's saying the authentication hasn't happened yet. We'll make sure to check with the team on that. It may just take an extra minute right now since we had so many people here today. A lot of people signing up at once. It may just take the system just an extra moment. Now, for the exits, the Lotto board, like I showed you, it produces that target for you for the profits. Now, and then a lot of people said, well, how do you avoid taking a 100% loser? Well, in the alerts and in the masterclass, I will show you I manage the active momentum of that trade. So I don't just hold it for 100% loser at expiration. In fact, if you look at the tracker, I do. I mean, I'm sure I will have some that will go for 100%, but you can see 17%, 17%, 82%, 63, 25, 29. That's because with the alerts part, I'm actively managing it so that if the momentum fades out and fizzles away, I will take the exit from that trade. And I'll walk you through that in the masterclass so you have a shot to do that too. But again, follow the alerts and it'll all be done for you.
All right. There was a question here that probably came in before you showed them the different tabs, but we are taking trades to the upside as well as to the downside, or in this case, I said longs and shorts. But we have the bullish tab, we have the bearish tab. We're taking advantage of any opportunity in either direction that meets the criteria.
Yeah, and I'll just show you guys here. Like here's Lamb Weston put 500%. Let's see. Put that one was a 17% loser. Let's see. Put 75% winner. So these are the downside one. Put 123. Uh, put small loser. Let's see. Put 134. Put 167 or 169%. So yes, we're trading both directions here. I actually have one open right now on BX that's up. Well, at least last I looked, up a little over 200% today with the markets or with financials selling off a bit.
All right, because these are swing trades and not day trades, they have a little bit of time to get in them after they pop up on the board or you send out an alert.
Yeah, I mean, I typically, if you get in that day, you should be good. And there's going to be like, I'm not a genie. I can't tell you where the stock's going to be an hour from then or 24 hours from then. We're just using numbers and data to give ourselves an edge here. But sometimes you can maybe even enter the next day and even get a better price. It just depends on the movement of the stock, but it's not something that you generally need to rush in that second to get in on it.
Tamara, if you are in another program and you think this is more appropriate for you and you want to switch over, just call our team. You may be able to do that. You may not. It depends on a few factors. So just call the number. The team will be able to look at your specific account and answer that question for you. 904-706-3537. We can't do it on the webinar, but the team in the office can look it up and let you know
Yep.
what your options are. No pun intended. Um, let's see.
The alerts, some Dick's asking, will the alerts be in Telegram? They're going to be in the one-click portal. So just like the other premium alerts, it'll come to your email, cell phone. You'll get a Telegram notification too, and it'll be on our website.
Are the trades that are in the trade tracker, were they all like the top three from the upside and the downside, or are they a mix of other things on the board also?
These are from they're from all 2x, 3x, and 5x plus categories. So there was no discrimination here.
No, I
I've been
think they meant, or were
enjoying.
they from the top three, like the top of each category, or did you also dig into the additional ones?
Oh no, these include all the trades I've taken from the Lotto board. They may have been on the top three, but also I like to just flip over here and just
Yeah,
go ahead
that's
and
what they
look at the
were
ones
asking.
because I can see the names that I already like
Yeah, that's
right
what they were
now.
asking.
If you guys
Okay.
have been in open playbook, you've seen me do this pretty much
Yeah, so it's a
every
mix.
day.
Yep. Let's see. So a bunch of people saying how much money they already made on the Lotto board in the testing and from the alerts. So good
Oh,
job,
cool.
everyone, and kudos to you, Graham, for that as well. Yes, if you're a Diamond member already, you've already had this. You've had this for like a week. So you should have this in your members portal if you're a Diamond member of Graham's. If you're a Diamond member of another trader in our group, that doesn't get you this. But if you're a Diamond member of Graham, it does. Um, there is no trial period, but there is a money back guarantee. You can see it right there on the screen, 14-day satisfaction guarantee. So you do need to pay to get in, but then you have 14 days. If for some reason it's not right for you, you can either switch programs or you can get a full refund. That's up to you, not up to us. So
Yep.
um, we have you covered there. We're not going to force you to stay in it. Uh, are they all spreads?
So let me go back up here. As you will see, if I scroll far enough, yes, it gives you debit spreads here. So you can see it just a basic debit spread. We know how much we're risking. There's not a hidden cost of risk here. If you just want to trade the calls, you can just buy the call side. That's it.
Yeah, so you can do it with basic options, folks, even though it's going to give you both. It's going to give you both legs of the spread. You can just take the one buy side and make that your basic option.
Yep.
It could be a call or it could be a put, depending upon which tab you're on, right? All right, let's see.
Um,
Doug, you said tell me about the satisfaction guarantee. I'm not sure how much there is to say, but basically, anytime in the 14 days, if you call up and say, um, this is not for me, I want my money back, you'll get it back.
yeah.
You don't have to prove anything. Um, let's see. There is a
Um,
VIP where so when you purchase for 22.95 on the next page of the order form, you'll be presented with the opportunity to upgrade to VIP. And with the VIP, you get a bunch of things, but among them is never having to pay for this again. You don't have to renew it. You don't have to worry about what it's going to cost down the line. For the people that just take the 1 year, then if you want to continue trading after the year, you'll pay whatever the price is a year from now to extend your membership. We don't know what the price will be.
Don says it would require an imbecile to cancel.
We
How
we
often is
try
a lot of
we
board
agree, but we try
updated?
not to insult our members.
Good question. Someone asked or how often does it update? It runs a scan every 20 minutes in the background. Now, here's the cool thing. So, like, here's TLT. We actually took this one this morning. So this is based on the most recent scan, but there's a button here that says get live prices. You just click that, it's going to pull the current price. So this one, in this case, didn't change, but typically if you get live prices, so this one went up a little bit. It's going to show you the live cost right now, live risk to reward, everything you need to see. So make sure when you go ahead and pick one that you like. Let's look at Moderna here, get live prices. This actually looks like a really good setup. Right here, you can see it pulled the live prices, 641% total max ROI. You can see the target, the options, the calculated move, the market maker move, everything you need to see to take the trade.
Yeah. There are a handful of different questions about how this compares to other programs. If you guys want to call and speak to somebody, they can help compare this to, because some of the questions aren't even about your programs, Graham. So we're not going to dig into all that now. But if you want to know how this, compares to Kane's Maverick or Lance's this or whatever, just call the number on the screen. They'll be able to kind of pull them up side by side and let you know what the differences are with that. Let's see.
Yep.
So as far as whether the trades are recommended or stuff he's putting his own money into, everything on the Lotto board is a recommended trade, right? I mean, if it shows up, it's recommended. You're just going to send out alerts on the ones that you happen to get into.
Yep, you'll see like today's top. If you look here, these are the ones that have passed our test. So there should all be beautiful charts like Colgate here. Calculated move outside the market maker move. EQT, nice chart here. Calculated move outside the market maker move. TLT, again, this is one we took this morning. These pass all the filters. So these ones are all good to go. If you go to here, this is going to open it up where it doesn't have to meet the momentum filters. It just has to meet the market maker compared to calculated move filters to then pull the option. So like Moderna, for example, it's positive on the medium term momentum, but today's momentum is negative day over day. So you may still like this trade. In fact, I do. And that's why this is here. So you can go ahead and open it up for more. But if you just want to keep it as easy as possible, just stick to today's top plays. Those are going to be the ones that are the best setups of the bunch.
You might have said this already, but I didn't catch it. How many tickers roughly is it checking?
I think it's 583 now. So
Cool,
all the major stocks out there, and I've added in the other liquid tickers that are not in the S&P 500 so far.
cool, cool. All right.
Jared, is the win rate based on cherry picking or every trade? This is every trade so far that I've taken closed out. Again, when I told you guys when I initially put this together, I was expecting 50, 60% win rate. Turns out we're crushing that right now, even in this nasty market chop. And apparently our edge is just way stronger than I thought it would be initially. So these are just based on every trade. You can see there's losers too, right? Winners, losers. This one broke even at zero, but this is every
That
trade so
almost never
far.
happens, right? We almost never
Yeah, I
get exact
know.
zero.
I
But
know.
one of the cool things about this program is if you noticed, very few of those losers were 100%. We're really mitigating losses with this program pretty well. It's pretty cool. Um, Jane asked if you can download the data to Excel to analyze. Yeah, once you get in the program, you can go to the tracker. You can copy and paste and drop it in Excel if you want to, and do whatever you want with the data. Um, No, there's no dedicated Telegram channel for this. They're going to be posted in one click. The alerts will be posted in one click. So you can either get them at one click or you'll get an alert that says go to one click and check the new alert. Will the win rate remain at 70%?
I
We'd love to make promises like that if we could.
Yeah, I will use my time machine and look in the future 1 year and let you know. No, I'm
Uh,
just kidding. I hope so. But even again, with the math, I actually shared this in Telegram. With our current numbers, this is crazy. So let's try and wrap our heads around this. Our win rate could drop down to 30%. We could win 30% of the time and still be making money on these trades. That's how
oh,
big the winners are compared to the
yeah.
losers.
Your average return, winners and losers together, is more than most programs just winners average.
Yeah, the average return. So this includes, yeah, winners and losers, 143%, which is just
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, that's an absurd number. I'm loving it. I'm having a great time. You can see why
Hey,
it's quickly become my new favorite way to trade.
Right.
for those of you who were already early logged in, making sure it was authenticating, and then some of you got looped back around, do me a favor, just hard refresh, like click Control F5 or whatever for hard refresh, and see if that's cleaned up. I'm talking to the team now just to make sure they're on it because obviously we got a whole bunch of people logging in at one time. It seemed like some people got stuck in a loop there. So if you don't mind, just giving that a recheck. You might have to log out, log in one more time, and let me know if it's good to go. I can pass that on to the team.
Does the regular version do indices as well?
Let me look. Let me show you. So here, the cool thing is, on my side, I've got this admin version, so I can add tickers in. I added quite a few, and so like you can see the SPY in there, but like, let me just do this. SPX. Like now the SPX is in there. So I, the customer service team told me not to do this yet because they don't want to get 1,000 calls. But come to the opening playbook. If there's tickers that you see missing that you would like to have added in here, just let me know in opening playbook. I'll just come here to the admin side and add them in. Now, again, there's now 587 total tickers in here. It has all the S&P stocks, NASDAQ stocks, and then I added in the other ones that are highly liquid too with options. So don't call customer service saying you want a ticker added in. You got to come to the opening playbook and tell me directly.
Is there anybody who doesn't know about the opening playbook? Doesn't know what we're talking about?
I'm not sure.
Mark
See.
said he's up $1,958 on Lotto trades from opening playbook. Just joined last week.
And guys, people are saying that it's not working. It could just because we have so many people joining and jumping on that page at the same time. The dev team is making sure that this will be up and running for you guys, no problem. Oh, Spy Right said it's already fixed. Okay, cool.
Yes. Well, half the people said it's fixed. A couple said still doing it. So it's just they're probably have to, do a couple more cleanups there, just get that all set up. But it should be within the next couple of minutes, I think, all set if it's already starting to come online for everyone else.
You don't have the master class scheduled yet, right?
I think we do Tuesday, 12:30. Tuesday, 12:30 p.m. Sounds about right.
Okay.
So in a couple days.
Let's see. Just looking for questions that we haven't already covered. Do you ever cut losers before expiration?
Yep. Like I showed you guys here. If I held them all until expiration, they'd be minus 100. I'm sure we'll have some. I had one here in TRS. Typically, what I'm trying to do is after I enter, I'm monitoring the momentum. And if that momentum changes and shifts against me, I like to try and take my losers. No one likes taking a loser, but it's much better having a 60% loser than 100% or a 30% loser than 100%. So that's what I do in the alerts portion of your membership. Gordon's asking how many trades have to be open at the same time. It just depends on the time and how everything's lining up. We could have 1 to 2 a week. We could have 5 in a week from my personal alerts. So that just depends on the timing. Michael, how do you save the lottos on my lotto tab? So if you have the lotto board open, let me just make this bigger. If you liked TLT here, you just click this button right here, bookmark it, then it'll save it in my lottos. See TLT.
All right, I'm just skipping past all the problems with the authentication and all that. Obviously, we're working on that. Well, here's a question. Are the alerts screened for earnings or seasonality?
There is an earnings screener in there. It's not screened for seasonality. This is just strictly looking at the current pace of the stock and the market maker moves. But you'll see here, like on the movement ratio tab, which you don't need to do, it'll show you how many days till earnings as well. The thing is, it's looking 90 days out. So if it avoided every stock that had earnings within 90 days, well, it would avoid every stock that ever existed because there's quarterly earnings. But it is screening, so it takes a look at when earnings are coming up.
Yes, if you get in for just the annuals and you don't go to the lifetime, you will still be able to join lifetime later. It will just cost you more. The discount today for the launch tremendously discounts the VIP lifetime. But if you don't, if you're not ready to do that and you just get in now, for the $22.95, yes, you'll be able to get the lifetime down the road. It will just cost more than it would cost if you did it today.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Can you download the trade? I'm not sure if you can download the trade journal.
The trade tracker? No,
This
you can't, but you can copy and paste it.
you may. I don't know if he's asking about this one. If you can
Oh,
download
that
it
one.
here,
I'm sorry.
you can screenshot it. I'm
Yeah.
not sure how to download it.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be able to download it. Yeah.
Guess print page. You could print page.
The track record is based on the spreads, not on the individual calls. Let's see. We got one here that says need to add the send to broker button. Well, we kind of have that on the alerts. On the alerts that Graham gives you, they will be in our one-click platform. And if you have one of the brokers that you can connect to our platform, you can do send to broker. So if you trade with Tasty Trade, TradeStation, or Interactive Broker, you can connect those three brokers to our members platform and literally do that one-click send to broker these trades. Obviously, that won't be for the ones that come up on the Lotto board. That'll be the ones that are in the alerts from Graham. But yeah, we kind of once we started offering that, we then started spoiling people, and anything we do, like in an app now, they want that to connect to their
Yeah.
broker. But I mean, that would be nice, but we don't quite have that functionality. So uh,
Uh,
when will you start sending the alerts out officially, so to speak?
Definitely next week. We might get frisky and do one today. But
Frisky.
definitely next week. That's a Roger word, frisky. We got a question. Will you be renewed at this price? We don't have automated renewals for any of our programs here for the annual stuff. So it's not going to renew at this price. If you want to lock in your price, you just have to go with lifetime, which actually just a little tidbit for you. It's going to be cheaper than that renewal price would be anyways. So if you guys want to make sure you have lifetime and you didn't get it, call in 904-706-3537. It'll save you money on any sort of renewals in the future.
AJH, I'm not sure I understand your question. How hard would it be to add the pick to the tracker? I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, I mean, here's the picks I've taken added to the tracker.
Right. Um, you can't you can't access the slide deck, but you can get a replay of this. If you want to send me your email address in the chat, we'll get a replay out to anybody who puts it. If you did it already, you don't need to do it again. A few people already did it. But if you want a replay of this, you can drop your email in the chat. We'll get it out to you when it's
Yeah.
available.
And the great thing about getting this today is you can go ahead and open it up and check out what's going on in the stock market right now and the opportunities that exist. Of course, if you guys have additional questions, we're gonna be having a meeting again tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. We'll cover this all again so you can review the materials too. It'll be live and we'll answer your questions as well. So if you still have any remaining questions or just want to go through it again, join us tomorrow at 11 a.m. as well. Now again, the benefit is if you take action today, you can actually use it while the markets are open. But I do want to make sure that you guys know that is available for you guys.
Yeah. Gord asked, based on the average 10-day hold, what account size would be needed to put $500 per trade? That's really, we can't even answer that because there's so many trades that pop up. It would still be almost an infinite amount of money. Like nobody's taking every single trade that pops up in this thing. You'd have to scan every 20 minutes to find new trades and take every single trade that pops up. I mean, you you shouldn't have to worry about taking every trade or anything like that. When you have funds available and time to trade, you pull up the Lotto board, you find what seems like the best trade for you, you place that trade, and then when you have a trade close out and you have money to spend, then you go back in and you find another trade. Like it's on your schedule. This whole thing is on your schedule except for the alerts. Um, yeah. All right, folks, if you asked a question and you feel like we didn't see it or get to it or answer it properly, please go ahead, post it again now. You can copy and paste your same question again if you want or whatever. But there were hundreds and hundreds of posts in here. We could very easily have missed something. So if you feel like you still have a question that we didn't cover, please just drop it in the chat now, and we'll keep an eye on the latest posts.
Yeah, Lance is asking, he doesn't see the lifetime on the checkout page. It's after you take your base membership, it will then ask you if you want lifetime. And the thing is, it doesn't matter if you do the 1 year or 2 year on that page, that the lifetime price will make sure to reset appropriately so everybody's paying the same amount if they want lifetime.
The pricing tomorrow will be the same as today, right, Graham?
Yes. You just won't be able to use it till Monday, which is fine. No big deal. But if you want to get it in your hands, check out what's going on in the markets right now. Oh, now's the time to get it. Peter, did my statistics show buy side only? No, that was calls and puts on the tracker. Joanne, are the odds better on the 2x versus the 5x? Technically speaking, the ones in the 2x column here are going to need a smaller move to hit. Actually, well, in this case, TLT, this one's so good. If I were to do an alert today, it'd be this one. It's going to be a smaller move needed to hit. So technically speaking, your odds should be better on the 2x pick but this one's going to have the bigger payout. So it's just a balance of what you're going for there. If you want the highest win rate possible or the biggest outcome possible.
But that seeing what you just saw, where the moves were basically the same, it doesn't really tell you because it's still relative to how much that stock normally moves, right?
Right,
So
right.
they could both say 5.8, but it's going to be a much bigger win for something that normally only moves 1% compared to something that normally moves 5%.
Yeah. Simon's asking, will the cost show different if it's a debit or credit spread? These are all debits, all debits.
Also, our man Oris, who's a legend, said that he found a little piece of code that he thinks was causing the issue that people were having. So one more login or refresh, and you should be good. Now, let me know if not. Thanks for calling that to our attention. Oris is amazing and got right on it. Was searching through the code and got that fix updated now.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Awesome.
to get the VIP price, you just need to get in for the 2 year, and then on the next page it'll show you the difference between that and the VIP.
Yep.
Jane, Diamond membership is a membership that's not just Lotto Board. It would be everything that Graham offers, all of his programs, current and future, for one price. If you're interested in that, you can call the number on the screen and talk to our rep. You'll get a little bit of a credit toward the Diamond for programs you already own and things like that. So it's a little bit of a individual pricing. Call 904-706-3537 and tell them you're interested in Graham's Diamond Club. And that will be all of Graham's current programs, plus there's stuff that's only available to Diamond members, and then all of his future work is included for free as well. It's a way to go all in on Graham, and it's an awesome membership. And there's stuff in the Diamond members club that you can't get any other way.
Mike asks, is there a training somewhere where I could learn how to use the overpriced options for income trading? We could talk about that. I don't want to distract from the main masterclass, but we can talk about that. I just don't want to confuse people. But Mike, I know you probably have been trading options for a while, so that's why it intrigues you, and we can definitely discuss that.
Maybe
Ozzy says it's working now. Awesome.
maybe you can just drop a video in the members area for people.
Yep.
That would be cool.
I need to
Yes,
have I
Carlos,
need to
this
have
works
Nate
with.
come with the inverse lotto
Yeah.
since he's the income man here.
Yeah, I mean it's not too far off the idea from the algos that I've built of looking at the average move, but I'm never going to make 300% on any of the ones that I like. So Lotto's a whole different animal.
Can the cost show? Yeah, these are only debit spreads. Only debit spreads. Yes, Carlos, I think we answered this already. Maybe I'm just behind, but yeah, you can do this in Robinhood or any broker that gives you the ability to trade options. Michael B said, best deal for any guru is Diamond. Get it as soon as you can afford it. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, Michael, I definitely think that's the way to go. If you guys enjoy what we're doing, if you like what we're doing, want to be a part of everything, Diamond's awesome. Because if you guys are the Diamond members, which I told you guys earlier this week, I said, hey, here's what the Lotto board's going to cost for lifetime. If you just join Diamond, you're going to save yourself some money. So next time we have that open, definitely something you want to take a look at.
Yeah, for the people that are asking about the Diamond, it's an individual pricing based on what you already own. So call that number on the screen if you're interested in Diamond Club, and they'll walk you through it. It's 904-706-3537. Joanne asked if these spreads are wrap orders.
They're debit spread. So a wrap order is a debit spread at the money. Some of them will be technically a wrap order. Let me just go ahead and see if I find one for you here. I'm just gonna go ahead and guess. Let's see.
While you're doing
And you'll
that,
see here they're sorted by the highest percentage max potential at the top. You scroll down and it gets lower and then categorized. Here, CVS. So you can see the current price is 79. This is technically a wrap order on CVS right now. As the numbers get bigger, they just shift a little bit further out of the money. Let's look at MRK here. So here's an MRK. So you can see this one is currently 122, strikes at 126. So just $4 out of the money here in MRK. But it is, just so you guys know, it is always looking for that calculated move outside the market maker move. And then depending on the category, it will use that calculated move to select the right strikes.
can you stay on that screen for a second? Joanne was asking where you find the strikes. She was seeing the expiration, but not the strikes.
Right here. So those are the ones.
So
That's
in that
flag.
case, your strikes are $100 and 105, Joanne.
Exactly. Yes. And you can see the expiration, you can see the individual price, but this is going to be the price of the spread.
But folks, I know we talked about like it's great that we're doing this today because you can actually take trades today because it's a trading day, it's a Friday. But if you're not sure about how this works, go through the training first. Don't just jump in on a trade if you don't know what you're doing. We'd hate to see you lose money just because you made a mistake in typing something in or how you understand it. So go through the training before you take the trades if you're not familiar with how to do these debit spreads.
Yeah. Here's a cool one. Google. You can see that just have look at that target. Very, very small target here. It pays 438% on Google, currently moving at a faster pace than the options have priced in. And it's used that pace, you see there, to select the options that pay the most. So very, very cool opportunity there on Google. And of course, there's bearish ones too. Lots of bearish ones for you guys who think we're going lower. Lamb Weston was the one I had a crazy return on yesterday.
The percentages shown there, like in the big colored
Oh,
numbers, are always based
yep.
on the spreads, right?
Yep.
Not
So
on the.
these are the max potential ROI by expiration. So Humana, in this case, if you held it to expiration, 300% max return. With the target, you won't see the max, but you probably see like 250%. So that's why if you look in the tracker, you'll see, for example, where was the one I took? TXT ended up finishing all the way in the money. So I took the profit at a buck 12, 646%. If I held till expiration, which it's 2020 hindsight, but you can do it would have been 1,500%. So that's the benefit of holding till expiration if you want to. But I like to just take the profits and move on simply because typically the profit target's around a big momentum run in the stock. And I don't want to hold it if it consolidates after that. But like TXT, for example, sometimes they'll just keep going. Oh, there you go,
Right.
Michael. All
I
right.
think I think we're
Well, I got
good,
to
man.
wrap up here. I got to
Yeah.
go get some lunch. I'm starving. I'm gonna come back, check out the Lotto board today. Hope you guys took action on this. Hope you guys are loving it if you're already in. And it looks like they got that side issue cleaned up, so it should be good to go for you guys. Again, if you joined today and forgot to get that lifetime, call 904-706-3537. That will get you upgraded for lifetime. It's going to run you cheaper than it will cost to renew for an extra year, just as a heads up. So it's going to be cheaper to buy lifetime than it will be to renew in a year. But other than
Glenn,
that,
go through the training. Go through the training. If you're jumping in trades and you're not sure what to do with them, it means you should take the training.
yeah. Awesome.
All right.
Well, thank you guys all for being here today. Hope you had a blast. Hope you have a blast with this tool. And again, if you have questions, if you want to review the content tomorrow, we'll be doing this again tomorrow, Saturday, 11 a.m. in the morning. Join us live. We'll get you taken care of. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Graham. Uh, let's see, Michael. The next step would be go through the training in the membership area. Make sure you sign up for the Telegram channel. Sorry, not the Telegram channel. Make sure that you are looking for the alerts when they come out. And then the next thing would be Tuesday is going to be the live masterclass, but there'll be information on that in the members area. And you'll get like alerts about it as well. So after you join today, training and masterclass on Tuesday.